Start. Madam, I beg to move that the bill further to amend the Northern Eastern Areas Recognition Act 1971 be taken into consideration. Madam, this is a simple piece of legislation which seeks to replace the Northeastern Areas Reorganization Amendment Ordinance Stop 1975, which was promulgated by the President under Article 240 of the Constitution on the 20th January 1975 as a result of reorganization of the composite state of Assam under the Principal Act of 1971 as from the 21st January 1972, the Assam State Electricity Board and the Assam State Warehousing Corporation existing at the time in the composite state became interstate bodies cooperate. A provision was made in Section 53 of the Northeastern Areas Reorganization Act 1971 for the continued functioning of these two bodies in all the territories of the composite state. I example the present state of Assam, the state of Meghalaya, and the Union Territory of Mizoram. It was also provided in subsection under Section 3 of the same section that those bodies shall cease to function and stand dissolved on the expiry of the period of 2 years from the date of reorganization or such earlier date as the central government may by order decide to stop. Insofar as the Assam State Warehousing Corporation is concerned, the Ministry of Agriculture and Irrigation, Department of Food, who are concerned with warehousing, have issued an order under subsection under bracket 3 of section 53 dissolving the Interstate Warehousing Corporation as from the 21st January 1975 after the new Intra-State Warehousing Corporation set up by the state of Assam and Meghalaya took over the undertaking, asset, right and liability of the Interstate Warehousing Corporation relating to the warehousing centers functioning within the territories of the two states. It may be mentioned that there is no warehousing center in the Union Territory of Mizoram in regard to the Assam State Electricity Board. However, the Ministry of Energy, Department of Power, who are concerned with the Electricity Board, were holding discussion with the representative of government of Assam and Meghalaya with a view to persuading the two states of evolve mutually acceptable arrangement for the further functioning. The Electricity Board stopped. An agreement was reached and signed by the minister of the two states in the afternoon of the 19th January 1975. However, as all the details necessary for incorporation in the statutory orders to be said issued by the central government for the taking over the undertaking assets, right and liability of the Interstate Electricity Board by the new Intra-State Electricity Board set up by the two states were not immediately available, and it was also necessary to consult Mizoram, which was a necessary part. It was found necessary to extend the life of the Intra-State Electricity Board by another 2 months beyond the 20th January 1975, on which date it was otherwise due to stand dissolved. Accordingly, the President was pleased to promulgate on the 20th January 1975 the Northeastern Area Reorganization Amendment Ordinance 1975, which the present bill seeks to replace. Madam Vice Chairman, I must say that we should take resources to ordinance to the minimum extent possible. When the situation can be well foreseen, we can make a provision during the continuance of the session itself, and this extraordinary method of promulgating ordinance should not be taken resources to. I admit that the provision of this bill are simple in this connection. I want to make some submissions. Stop. Before this reorganization took effect, there were the Assam State Electricity Board, and these corporation. After the reorganization, the assets and liability should be distributed between the interstate bodies. In this connection, I want to point out one thing to the minister so far as this reason to concern, namely that there should be a coordinated policy, a coordinated power policy. Unless and until there is a coordinated power policy, there is no scope of development of this underdeveloped area. This underdeveloped area in rich in its natural resources, exploration of the rich resources found with this reason. So unless and until there is a coordination power supply, so far as this region is concerned, there is no hope of any development of this development area. So far as my state Tripura is concerned, we are to take power from Assam, or rather from Meghalaya, because in our state the one Hydel project seen the light of the day. Expenditure to the extent of three times the actual amount has been spent in this connection, but till now it has not been completed. Stop. Sir, the Honorable Minister read out the whole list of schemes which the government had been introducing, like the rural worker scheme, crash programs, 500,000 job scheme, and the whole plethora of scheme. But he has deliberately concealed the most important thing, namely, despite all these efforts by the government, unemployment has been continuously rising ever since the first 5 year plan. If in the beginning of the first 5 year plan unemployment totaled 33 lakhs, now it is anywhere near 400 lakhs plus. 30% of the population who are in a state of discussed unemployment problem is continuously getting aggravated despite all the crash programs, despite all the rural worker programs that have been undertaken. So far, I am tempted to say this because the Honorable Minister has deliberately used the detail of the various schemes of the government only to concern the main point, that the government has utterly failed to solve the problem of unemployment. Whatever they have done has been a drop in the ocean, and the unemployment problem continues to be aggravated. You may be putting a few crore of rupees here and there in the name of solving unemployment problem, but in fact whatever money you have put in the unemployment scheme has been frittered away by private hungry contracts by political worker of the ruling party at the local level. They have been misusing the fund rather than creating asset. I would like the Honorable Minister, for example, to tell the House, out of the total investment you have made for the crash programs, for the rural worker programs, how much percent of the total outlay has been spent on reducible assessed. Government will not be able to give the figure because, like the figure for unemployment, government refuses to collect figures regarding reportable assessed. How much of the total outlay for unemployment scheme has been spent on reproducible assessed, creating employment of a permanent nature. In fact, a large proportion of the money has been spent on investment which create only temporary job, and the many days that have been added to the total unemployment figure are only temporary in nature, even if they are real. Stop. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, the Honorable Minister said that the proposal of the mover of this bill, namely in case government is unable to provide unemployment, is duty bound. Stop. The unemployment allowance cannot be accepted. The main reason put forward by the Honorable Minister is that investment should be used in productive scheme and not for going doles. Stop. That was one of his arguments. He said that because of the resources position, the government could not utilize their limited resources for unemployment allowances because the implication would be to large amount of money will be needed for such a scheme. He also said in his characteristics fashion that if unemployment allowances is given, it will added to the inflationary pressure. I feel to understand his logic because unemployment allowances can add it to inflationary pressure only in a situation where such resources have been created by deficit financing or in situation whereas unemployment allowances stop. तो कैसी लगी आपको डिक्टेशन? प्लीज़ कमेंट बॉक्स में कमेंट करें और लाइक और शेयर करना ना भूलें।